What, you're not into Nazis? What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I was always told growing up that they were bad.
Me too.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
Me too.
That the damnedest thing, I believed it.
Yeah. And the next thing you know, he's going to have a book drive for Mein Kampf. He's a great guy. We love him here at Go Knicks. Anyway, good Lord.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty and Farrell, only seen here out of Indie Music TV, straight out of Long Island, on a special Sunday show where I was totally jacked for this. Very, very excited.
Yeah.
We got a 3-tour show, but none better than the great Maven in studio. Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, thank you. You said wrestling icon, and I started looking around. I don't view myself as an icon. I'm the one guy that I'm going to be perfectly honest.
Nice.
Whether you like it or dislike my answer.
Nice.
Like, I hate it when guys talk about, did you take steroids? And they hint around or beat around the bush. I did.
Okay.
I did.
Of course.
I'm not sorry for it.
Right.
I wish I'd have taken more. I'd have done everything the same. And
Nice.
at this point in my life, at 46, there's no one I'm trying to get the approval of.
You made quite a career for yourself after wrestling. You want to share that with the fans a little bit?
You know what? I was fortunate. It's weird. I get out of wrestling, and I was a little bitter when the WWE let me go. So I was doing a little bit of indie work, but I kind of wanted to just get away from it and see what other avenues I could get into in entertainment. I had a show on BET. Mind you, I've always assumed I was half black, but I don't know. But I had a show. I had 2 seasons on BET. I was able to host for the Home Shopping Network, which was the best job ever.
And you worked for the Nets also?
I worked for a good friend of mine, a guy I actually played baseball with in college, was one of the vice presidents for the Nets. He brought me in to do sales, and everybody thinks that COVID is the reason I left. It wasn't. The reason I left the Nets was because we signed KD and Kyrie.
Okay.
And after you sign 2 guys that are going to fill the arena, they don't have much need for you. And we literally we sold that arena out for probably 3 to 4 years.
Right.
And just my whole department gone. Literally, the people that I worked with at the Nets, all gone. I only know of one guy from my tenure there that's still active with the Nets. So I left the Nets, and then COVID hits. I had no clue of what I was going to do.
So I just want to spell this out. Are you telling me that your department was eliminated because they sunk all that money into those 2 guys? Or?
The department wasn't eliminated. The people in the department wasn't eliminated, meaning bloated salaries were eliminated, bloated commissions.
So they were trimming the fat. That's what
Absolutely.
I'm getting to here.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And new ownership.
Right.
That was when the Russian owner sold to Josai. And with new ownership,
Right.
I understand they want to do. They're going to want to bring their own people in.
Right.
I respect it. I enjoyed my time there.
But I'm sure that your staff showed up way more than Kyrie does for basketball games.
I had to have. If we showed up once.
I just figured I'd throw that in. Hi, Kyrie.
If we showed up once, oh my gosh. Is there anybody that you can...
Check stealer.
That makes it so easy to dislike.
Check stealer.
So easy to dislike.
Well, what? You're not into Nazis? What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I was always told growing up that they were bad.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Me too.
That's the damnedest thing. I believed it.
Yeah. And the next thing you know, he's going to have a book drive for Mein Kampf. He's a great guy. We love him here at Go Knicks. Anyway. Good Lord.
All right, we got to get control of this.
Yeah.
Maven, in 2002, you wrestled...
Armbar! Tell us about the armbar and its overall effect on the impact of a match.
Maven, what was the first thought you had with the first time you went out in front of a live audience?
Does the ring bell hurt your ears? You're so close. Why don't we go back to the very beginning of why we have you here on the couch? Tell us about Tough Enough and how did that
Yeah, why the
work?
hell is it? Yeah,
You know? What was that?
I don't even want to interview me.
He doesn't
I
want to-
can't believe it.
Please be interviewed, please. How about Tough Enough? Where do we start with that? How does that all begin? Where we get to know Maven in the first place?
Honestly, it was a damn joke.
It was a joke.
I was a big fan. Loved the aggression era. I
Right.
loved it. Loved The
Right.
Rock. Loved Austin. Loved just what those guys were doing. And I literally would watch The Rock. I mean, I played college baseball, and I mean. You know how guys are.
Yeah.
I would cut promos on all my buddies and I knew I could run my mouth. Like I knew I had that aspect of it. And then you heard Jim Ross, one night on Raw, have you ever wanted to be a wrestler? And I'm like, yes. Like I have. And my buddy's like, yo, dude, you should for real make a video.
So wait a minute, but it's a Rock and Austin that kind of drag you. It's not like Hogan back in the 80s, that type of thing. It's those guys.
So it was
I
the Rock
actually-
Austin thing.
I actually grew up watching mid-Atlantic. I grew up on the NWA, more like the Four Horsemen.
Oh, so you're a
Okay.
trader. You're a
Magnum.
trader.
Wait a minute,
You're a
though.
trader.
Where were you watching? Were you watching this here in New York? If you were, you're a traitor. But
I was
where?
watching on my television in Virginia.
See, no,
Thank you
he's
very
safe,
much.
dude. He wasn't watching
Yeah.
in New York.
I
If
watched
he's
it.
watching in
So
New York.
trader.
I watched
Yeah,
it. I
ultimately
watched
you
it
are.
in the Mid-Atlantic region.
There you
So
go.
not only was I not a
There you
trader,
go.
I was home team.
Yeah, Gordon Soley for life. I
Yeah.
got you. I got you. But okay, but it's the Rock and Austin that's sending into overdrive for you, though.
I think that's what those guys. I don't think they'll ever be an era or two entertainers.
Yeah.
That at their peak
Right.
do what those guys did for
Right.
wrestling. They took it to another level.
Right.
A complete another
well,
next
the
level.
ratings say so.
Yeah.
Not just
rating,
Stone Cold.
The money.
Right.
When I got up and fast forward in a couple years, when I got up on the full active roster, both guys, Austin was down, off the show doing house shows at the time, but Rock was still doing house shows for a small amount of time. And we would get paid. Yeah, we had a downside guarantee, but we would get paid per attendance, how much you sold out an arena.
Right.
On a Saturday night house show, meaning no cameras, we were selling out the American Airlines Arena in Dallas.
Sure.
I was making $7,500 a week because Rock was drawing those houses. When he left and you had different guys drawing the houses, cut those paychecks by 3/4. Seriously.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
That's a chunk.
that proves to me what those guys meant to the business.
Right.
But I sent a video in because as a joke, thinking there's no way in hell they're going to pick me. Why would they? I went to Tough Enough thinking there's no way they're going to pick me. And then they picked me for the house. Because when I was in line waiting, I'm seeing a bunch of guys that look like Batista and
Right.
John Cena. And
Right.
Just roid.
But are they handsome?
But yeah, there were some good looking dudes.
Okay.
And I was
Trying
like,
to help
"There's-"
you out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, there's no way they're going to pick me. I mean,
Right.
at the time I was,
Right.
I'm 6'2". I weighed about 200 pounds.
Okay.
And the fact that it's still a whirlwind and it still shocks me that I was able to do what I was able to do with it.
What kind of shape were you in when you were auditioning?
Average. I can show you.
So it wasn't the Maven we know.
No.
Damn.
No, it was
Okay.
the guy who thinks he's in great shape,
Okay.
but he's probably in better shape than your average person.
Understood.
But he's no one, by God, no one that should be taking his shirt off for a living.
Not a
But dude,
specimen.
you know what?
I
Think
got
about
you.
it this:
Bingo.
you could tell you were the star of that program at the time.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was I had the personality that they knew they could work with.
Right.
Okay.
And I think, the wrestling's a different beast. And the reason why is because I don't give a damn how good or nice or whatever you are. They're not going to let you go up at a Yankee game and face 100-mile-an-hour pitching. I don't care how good of a football player you were. You're not going to be able to play for the Jets or the Giants. You're not.
Right.
Wrestling's the one career that if you have the right personality and a decent work ethic to where you can build yourself up and learn the psychology of the business, it's attainable. I'm proof. I was the fan that transitioned to an active WWE roster, superstar. Where else are you doing that? You're not calling up the Giants and being like, hey, I want to try out.
But think about the
Right.
class you in, right? You got Nowinski in your class.
yeah.
Nowinski now is one of the major CTE
Yeah.
guys.
I thought
right?
he was excellent, by the way.
You got
Nowinski.
Josh Lumberger.
I really
Now,
listened
why
to
did he keep that name, Josh Lumberger? Ends up becoming Josh Matthews.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Why did they keep Schlumberger? Wouldn't that have been much better? It could have been much funnier.
A lot more you could have done with it in the comedy aspect.
But this is the most important part. You had Nydia. And I got to tell you, when they put those jean shorts on Nydia, I was all in. Fox on whatever time it was. Wife wasn't home. It was me and Nydia.
Landing strip. Horrible. Horrible.
Hey, he's waving the plane in.
Yeah, he certainly was. Oh, my God.
But you had some beautiful women on that show, too.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you not get involved? Good-looking guy like you. How do you not get involved with these
babes?
women?
Oh, my God.
Are you saying you don't? I did.
Well, if you did, then we're at.
He did.
There you go.
I did.
Roll right into it. So, do tell.
Yeah. I mean.
Anybody?
Go ahead.
You got some,
Did you hook up with Nydia?
Might have.
Okay.
Here's what I will say, and just because I want to respect,
Understood.
their aspect of it. There was a in the behind the scenes the following year that they showed, and they showed two people underneath the covers, but they never revealed the faces.
Okay.
And it's we're doing it was after I think season 2, and they were doing something for MTV at the time, and they show and they're like, "Oh, dude, who is this?" And I'm just sitting there because I knew it was me,
Right.
and I knew it was
Right. Yeah.
with her. But it was,
Damn.
it was just. I mean, we were there for 9 weeks, and I wasn't dating anybody, and she wasn't either. And I think just
Gosh,
eventually
she was so smoking.
eventually hormones take over.
I'm so jealous.
You need a few
She
minutes
was actually
alone?
a very, you know what though? She was actually she's a very sweet person too. Like as nice as she portrayed herself on TV, she is that nice. And for the guys, either one of those guys could have won it. I only won because I could talk. That's it.
Did you get $1 million for that?
God, huh? If I did, I'd love to know where it's at.
Oh, I thought the prize was $1 million.
No, that was the one. That was the Tough Enoughs after my
Oh,
season.
they screwed you then.
What'd you get? $20 in a McDonald's coupon?
Yeah, got a Target.
Doesn't matter. He got Nydia. What does it matter?
Oh yeah, you don't need a
wins,
cash. You
period.
don't need a cash prize. Wait a minute.
Target gift card and a Manscaped ball trimmer.
There you go.
Hey, win-win.
Win-win.
Nydia, help me out. I don't know how to use this thing. Perfect.
2006.
I won the my season. We won just the contract for a year, which
Okay.
evened out to it was a 1-year contract at the time for WWE. They paid $1,000 a week, so it was about a 52. That came out to about $52,000.
And you paid for your own travel, or they paid for travel?
They pay for airfare. That first couple months while you're getting on the road to get ready, they help you out, meaning they'll get cars and stuff for you. They'll make sure you get to and from the arena. But one of the big wrestling misconceptions is that you're taking jets everywhere. Nah, they're flying you someplace, and then your ass is getting in a Ford Taurus, figuring out how to rent a car and get to the next.
But to be
town.
fair, you just said it. $50,000 a year, 1 year. Now you're doing house shows. You plug it away. We'll just call it $10,000 a week, right? Because you may be doing Saturday, Sunday shots, maybe Friday, Saturday
Once
shots.
I got on the road, I started making more money than I've ever
That's what
seen
I'm
in my
talking.
life.
So in the end, it's got to be like
absolutely.
a $300,000 a year, $400,000 a year.
When I got on the road, the thing about wrestling though, the whole thing with that is staying healthy.
Right.
Because the minute that you get injured,
You'll
you go to
lose.
your downside guarantee.
Right.
And my downside was still good. Like I think after my first contract, after my $50,000, I signed like $125,000 downside, meaning if I get injured, which I did, I broke my leg, that I'm guaranteed to get that. But you make so much more money if you're actually out doing the shows.
Now, how'd you break your leg?
Played baseball my entire life. I was doing a baseball slide, wrestling Christian on SmackDown. The dumbest thing ever. And I slid up over top. My boot got caught on the canvas.
Right.
And I literally bent my leg, and I broke the shin
snapped.
and my ankle. And to this day, I can tell you when it's going to rain because it still hurts.
Now, this is going to sound strange, but as far as you did the hardcore.
Shocking.
I know. Coming from me? Do you believe this? Hardcore champion 3 times. You told me about, the downside stinks when you get hurt. Did the hardcore wrestlers have any clauses? Because they're hardcore wrestlers. When they made you a hardcore wrestler, you must have been like, gee, great. I got to go order a case of Advil now.
No.
I mean, there's no, too bad. You're just a hardcore guy. That's
See,
the way
now,
it goes.
Maven was really enjoying this.
What?
Until you just pulled that question out of your
Now he's going to think about it. He's going to be like,
I've had enough. I'm out of here.
those guys fucking robbed me. No, I wonder about that. The
Just
hardcore
walk out.
guys.
Walk out now.
Walk out now? With all the beer I bought you, you better stay put. Keep drinking.
No,
Anyway.
like when like Vince McMahon did not run a democracy.
Right,
He
of course
ran
not.
An authoritarian government.
That's right, baby.
You were gonna
He
do-
loves this.
Vinnie Mac.
Wait a minute, you hear that? Boing. That was Mike just now. Go on, keep talking about
I love
Vinny.
myself some Vinnie Mac, man.
And you were, I mean, like if you questioned
Oh, don't
anything
you
that he
dare.
had to say,
Oh.
they'll find someone that won't question,
Right.
and that will do it.
Right, right.
And there's no clauses, there's no extra pay, there's no nothing. However, and you'll never get me to say anything bad about the WWE, because when my mom got sick and she was battling cancer my entire run, and in
Right.
2000 and at the end of 2003, she was put in the hospital, which the only time she would leave would be to pass away. They told me, go be with her. My checks came every week. They never bothered me, and I was out for 80 days with her. And I mean, how many companies are going to do that for you?
Not many.
Thank you.
For
Wow.
them, it was, and it wasn't even like a call every other week and be like, "Are you ready to come back?"
Right.
It was a, "How are you doing?"
No pressure
So this
whatsoever.
And the night
Wow.
my mom passed, the
Wow.
night she passed, Vince called me himself.
Come on.
Like, you know,
So this whole thing about Vince McMahon doesn't care about anybody.
He's
a
heartless.
heartless
Oh, heartless.
scumbag isn't true.
here's what I'll say about Vince. He signs the front of the checks, I sign the back. He's a businessman.
There you go.
He's a freaking businessman. And how many businessmen do you know that are that successful that don't have a little bit of just, I don't want to use the word arrogance, but just overabundance of importance on themselves? You don't get to that level if you don't have a little bit of in you.
And how about the compassion he showed you when your mom
you
passed,
won't,
though?
but
What
he
it-
showed me the compassion
what it-
when
what
I
it-
needed it. However,
Wow.
if I would have went to him and bitched about,
Right.
doing a match, I
Right.
think I'm getting, there's a few too many thumbtacks in that match. No problem. We'll find somebody else that won't bitch.
Raven?
2006, you do Surreal Life. Now listen to this
Yeah.
cast, Farrell. Alexis Arquette, CeCe DeVille,
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Steve Harwell, Sherman Hemsley,
Wheezy!
Tawny Katane, God rest her soul,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
and Alexis Arquette also. Right?
Yeah.
He passed.
And Sherman.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Sherman passed.
Wait,
Yeah.
you're about to read.
Hold 1 minute.
Wow.
Andrea Lowell. I don't know who that is.
She was she did remember the Playboy Network? She
Yes.
did some radio show or whatever on the
Okay.
Playboy Network.
Because I did
Okay.
watch this, I just couldn't remember. And then most importantly, Florence Henderson, which is just huge.
Yeah.
I mean, just to be on the
God
show
rest
with
her
Florence.
soul.
Can you tell us about any experiences in Surreal Life?
So they brought me on thinking I was going to be the hook up with Andrea. No, she liked Asian guys. I was so not her type. I was the polar opposite of what her type was. This was funny. So, and Tawny was like,
I was going to say, did you hook up with Tawny?
no, here we go. So,
How about Florence?
Florence didn't stay in the house. I probably would have just for the
Notoriety,
the prestige.
Right? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the story.
Yeah.
Well, there's always listen, there's always that lights off option.
Hey, Carol
right?
Brady. Nah, I mean,
Absolutely.
who wouldn't
I
wanna
mean,
say
damn
that?
straight. Yeah.
Good God.
Where's Alice?
So,
Ow, my nose!
Oh my God! Oh my God! You
so-
and your your lousy arm.
so they bring me into the house, and we're doing interviews to learn about what you think of the cast. And I informed them that Tawny Katane and her straddling that Jaguar was probably the first let's just say excitement I got as a young man, and I can't believe I'm in a house with her now. And
How'd she look back then?
I'm getting to it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Let it breathe.
All right.
So she gets in a fight with her husband at the time, and I want to say Chuck Finley, maybe,
Oh really?
and the baseball player.
Yeah, I
They
got
get
you.
into a fight over the phone to the point where I guess she says she's leaving him when she gets home. So me and Steve Harwell and I think Cece's out there at the pool. She comes out, strips him, and goes and runs and jumps in the pool naked. And you see on TV, you see me look up, see her, and then go like this. And they asked me, they were like, well, you told us you had this big crush on Tawny. Why did you look away? And I was like, because she looked like 180 pounds of chewed bubble gum. And they played that for her.
Oh, they did?
And so I had so much heat with her, and because she was sweet, Yeah,
Tough getting old.
She looked different. Yeah, gravity wins.
She looked different.
Gravity wins.
That's why I try to tell him, like, when we were growing up watching old matches, right?
Oh, no.
They meant so much to me.
Stop doing it.
And if you ever, like, on a network, you're like, oh, let me watch this Bob Backlund Morocco match. And you go, oh, man.
What's
is
with
just...
this armbar?
I mean, not
this
that
is
it's
going
a
on
major
forever.
comparison, but I think you just don't go back, right? You just want to leave the memories. Now, if Florence would have took a close-up, jumped in the pool.
I don't want to say it would have been good.
It
But
would not.
Florence, she wasn't there enough to do it. Florence, only person that didn't stay in the house. She went home every night. She would show up just whenever like to film,
Right.
and then she would go home. She wasn't.
Was it
into
scripted, though? Or is it? They
No,
just,
it
like,
wasn't scripted.
Not at all.
No, it wasn't scripted. It's just people were there for paychecks. Like when they called me, what happened was they were having CeCe DeVille on the show. And I guess they were going to have Bret Michaels on the show because if you remember, Bret had Rock of Love,
Right, yeah.
which debuted right after that.
Which, by the way, was a hot show.
A great show.
Man, I
like,
love
what a great idea. Let's have a bus full of...
Surreal Life and Rock of Love.
Yeah, let's have a bus full of strippers and go around and see get drunk in every city. That's, sign me up. And so, but Bret and CeCe for a shoot hated each other. I'm talking despised each other. So
Right.
Bret evidently pulled out like 2 weeks before the show. So they were stuck in a hard place. The casting director from my season of Tough Enough was doing the casting for VH1. I get a call. Someone needs, she called me and I was taking a nap. And I had just been released. She was like, "Do you want to do the Surreal Life?" And I was like, "Nah, that's the has-been show." And then she informed me how much, it's $50,000 paycheck. And I was like, I'm packing.
Vince will always answer that he's most proud of the Undertaker creation and adores the Undertaker, considers him the greatest thing he's ever done. How did you feel tonight that you're actually most
Does
remembered?
Stephanie and Shane know about that?
Yeah.
Squeedoots.
Wow, I didn't think about it that way.
Bam.
I didn't think about it that way. No wonder Shane left. He's again. Obviously you're very well remembered for that 2002 Royal Rumble where you eliminate the Undertaker with the drop kick, and it was really a holy moment before holy chants was so prevalent. Being that the Undertaker is Vince's like all-time favorite, what was it like when they broke you the news that night? By the way, this is the Royal Rumble, one of our big four that we've been doing for decades now. And you're going to eliminate, yes, you, young man, you're going to eliminate basically Vince McMahon's greatest creation in the history of his business.
It was, and probably for the better. I didn't know what was going to happen. I caught wind of it a few days early when I was in training in Cincinnati. They were like, we think they're going to fly you down to Atlanta for the Rumble. Okay, I thought, okay, they're going to have me come out, do one spot, get eliminated. No big deal. But they want to have the Tough Enough Kid out. Because up until this point, I had only been on live television 4 times. They fly me in the day of. They never fly you in the day of if you're going to do something important. Because they want to make sure if you're that important in the show,
You gotta be there
they
early.
want to make sure you're there the day before.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with, flight layovers or whatever. So they flew me in the day of. I got there around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were like, go to the ring, find Shane. Fortunately, Shane was with Vince at the time. And when they told me, like, Shane was with Taker, excuse me. Taker looks down at me and he goes, "He's going to what?" And I was just like, oh my God, like he's going to kill me. And I quickly found out was Taker had to sign off on it. And Taker knows what I hate in wrestling is when people don't want to do the job, meaning they don't want to put someone over. The only way we can be successful in this business is to build other people up. If you don't build someone up and you just squash them, what have you accomplished? Nothing. Taker knew that. Taker was building me up by giving me that one drop kick. That one spot gave me a career. It has been the reason that 20-some years later, I still answer annoying questions from people.
Do you remember the Taker spot?
No, I don't. But if not for that annoying question that I have to answer, if not for that one spot, I wouldn't have had the career I had. So where Vince talks about his best creation, it's because he did it for a man who wasn't afraid to create
For others. Yeah, for others.
And that's, to me, that's the wrestling food chain, and I, being later in my career now, I hear all the time, or I have people hit me up and they'll be like, "You're the reason I got into the business when I saw what you were doing," and I'm like, "Wow, like that's if that's my legacy, I'm fine with it. If my legacy is that someone else can get motivated or just push themselves to accomplish something because they saw that I did it, hell, I'm happier with that than any PWI award or hardcore championship that writers wrote for me."
Are you ultimately disappointed that you didn't get more of a push?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
I know I could have done so much more, but at the end of the day, that's just not the way it worked out. And I refuse to live my life looking back on I can't change and neglect what I could do better in the future.
There you go.
I mean, you tell me anybody, name one athlete or name one actor, anybody, I don't care who gets done and says, "I did everything."
Right.
There's nothing more I would have done different or
Right.
could have done or accomplished. No.
Right.
Everybody's going to wish that they could have accomplished more. To me, what to me was left unfinished to some indie worker out there working right now, man, he'd give his left
Right.
arm to have that career.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to
Absolutely.
for 1 second think that
Yep.
that there was something. Yeah, I could have done more. I'm happy with what I had.